What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day. In the pharmacy I work at, there's always constant improvement. We have continuing education that we have to do every so many months. There's new developments, new drugs, new processes that come out that we have to tackle. In addition to that, we make mistakes. I make mistakes. I've given the wrong medicine to the wrong person before. I've typed things wrong. I've filled things wrong. It happens. And when those things happen, what's more important than finding out who the culprit is figuring out why it happened and then fixing it or putting in a process to make sure it doesn't happen again or happens less frequently. And it's very recent that I realized the same thing goes for this hobby or for this business. I've heard a lot of people talking about SourceSwift recently, a lot of my friends, a lot of people I look up to, and I'm not going to lie. I've had my convictions in how I've been doing things for a while, and I have made some changes. I mean, we've discussed that before. But I've definitely had my heels dug in, and a lot of that has to do with not necessarily efficiency, but easiness. You know, it's easier to do some things at the sacrifice of more money or, maybe bigger and better things. And I would always use the time I have available as an excuse for that expediency. And the number of times now in like the last 2 or 3 months where I'm constantly changing things to try things, there's nothing wrong with that. But at some point you kind of just have to, and I just kind of have to, admit that, hey, if something works, it just works. And that's why I wanted to talk about another potential change that might be coming. Still thinking about it, but we're going to talk about it. But if you don't know who I am, my name is Bronzgod. I sell trading cards on Tcgplayer and eBay. We've been averaging about $40,000 a year in sales, but we are looking to grow that a little bit more. We do have some other channels that I'll have in the link in the description down below. And yeah, so SourceSwift has been coming up a lot recently. Obviously, there's other friends of mine and people you watch in this space that have joined that team of the platform of selling. And, I've looked at it a little bit and it's daunting. It is a lot. And the overhead of having the whole suite of things at your disposal is a barrier that I don't want to say scared of, but it puts your feet to the fire. And oftentimes when you have your feet to the fire, that's kind of when you do your best because there's no going back, or there's you got to make it happen. There's no choice other than succeed. And the chaos sort is always something that I borderline don't like it. I understand all the benefits of it, and the more and more people talk about it, but it's one of those things that I've had to come to grips with that even though I don't like it, it's probably a necessity. And there's so many other people that are having success with it that at this point, it's something that I should at least give a shot. My brain is wired in a way where I like to have everything in order, everything alphabetically, everything, just because I want to have that safety net of if something goes wrong, I know where to go. But as other things come out, and with SourceSwift being this really ridiculously amazing, looks amazing platform, it makes it seem like easier and easier, and that those issues that come up really aren't necessarily these life-ending moments. So it's got me thinking a little more about trying at least making that switch. And one of those things is I just blew my inventory, right? I just blew my inventory a month ago. I've been using Card Uploader and other places to make my eBay listings, which if I had to blow that up again, it's not like the biggest deal in the world, because obviously if I start SourceSwift and I don't like it, I could always blow it up and start over again. The only real drawback to trying anything new is just time. And yes, time is the most valuable resource, so you have to use that in a responsible way. But I want to have a store. I know it's not a lot of people's goals to have a store. You don't have to have a store nowadays, but I want to have a store. And I know that once I have a store, I'm going to be having to do other things to sell on Tcgplayer and eBay. And I'm going to have to do things more efficiently. And I'm going to have to do things in a way that makes sense. And if Sort Swift ends up being the avenue that helps me do that, then why not give it a shot? Not only that, but, you know, because I just started the inventory over again, if I blew it up now and started from scratch and learned it now while I don't have a store and inventory research and employees to manage and all that stuff, if I can get it locked down now, even though it's going to be hard to learn and hard to figure out, that will pay dividends down the road. And I'm really trying hard, and I would suggest, even in any source in anything, I would suggest very hard that you have to have that inner conversation with yourself, and you have to be very honest with yourself. And I was very honest with myself, and it's scary. It is it's scary, you know, when you're making a big change and the money's going to slow down for a little bit, right? The sales are going to slow down. You're not going to be able to do certain things because you're going to have to take that time to ramp up and learn these different things. And, my inventory has been mostly bulk. So now that we're starting to get with, better cards and better inventory, there's lots of moving pieces that can make all of this stuff very daunting. But it's temporary. And that's something, after watching, again, videos of other people I very much care about in the space, or have an affinity for in the space, I should say. I'm not like in love with anybody. That's a little parasocial. I didn't mean it that way. But, it's, I don't know, man. There is old Master Chef, not Master Chef, what's the Gordon Ramsay show? Hell's Kitchen? No. The one where he goes to restaurants and he fixes them, right? And there was this one guy who, I remember in the episode, it was like he had this big issue with Yelp, and these people were complaining all the time. And there was a head chef that talked to him and was like, hey, when I make a dish and someone complains, it's whatever, But if 18 people complain, then it's irresponsible for me to not look at it and say, okay, maybe there's an issue. I'm using that mindset with where I'm at and all the changes that I keep making. I do not like chaos, inventory, chaos sorting. It doesn't make my brain happy, as my friend Fanta would say. However, as much as I want to get back to listing everything, or just kind of, it's easier to do all that. If everybody else is doing it and everybody else is having success, the writing's on the wall, right? Now I might be I probably am in the minority on how I feel about that. But it doesn't have to even be chaos sorting. It could be any other aspect of where you are in your business, where you are in your life, where you are with anything. It's when it comes to change, being very truthful to yourself on why and how you're thinking the way you are and how it actually is. And a lot of times, and I can say this from my own experience with, behavior changes and stuff, and I see it all the time in my job, is someone can ask a question and you can give them an answer, and oftentimes they'll go, yeah, well, but, and they'll just completely dismiss it. And it's one of the worst qualities that a person can have, is the immediate dismissal of an obvious fact. And when you're more open to that idea of, okay, well, even if I think they're wrong, they might be right. So give it a shot. And then if they're wrong, then you can, rub it in their face or shove it in their face. And that sounds a lot more like mean. It's not, obviously not the avenue I'm going down with the cards, but it's essentially the same bubble. I don't like it. I kind of don't want to do it, but people are having success with it. Why not give it a shot? So I just got done listing some of the Foundations Jumpstart stuff I did, some of the bigger cards. I'm probably going to give it a few days because I did reach out to SwordSwift for they do like a 30-minute call just to kind of go over the stuff I'm talking with in this video. Some of the other things that are in my head about, hey, how does this work? How does that work? And just the more and more I'm in this business, the more and more I'm learning to accept that change is inevitable. Change is a good thing. And the worst thing that'll happen if you make a big change and it doesn't work out is you lose a little time and then you just go back to what you were doing. So for the sake of personal growth and business growth and channel growth, we might be making a change, and I'll be excited to see what happens. I'd love to hear from you, when it comes to you and how you make your changes. How do you handle it? How do you deal with it? Is it scary for you, as it is a little nervous for me? Yeah. But I know when that money starts rolling, if it starts happening and the money comes, like even when I went on eBay and I started taking eBay seriously, and I think, that I didn't I'm doing my update tomorrow, but I mean, we've hit like almost $3,000 in 3 weeks. And, once you start seeing those results, then you start kind of kicking yourself in the pants for not jumping on it sooner. But that's another topic for another day. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the conversation with the people over at SwordSwift and see what we can do. And after that talk, we may not switch. Who knows? But being open to the idea is ultimately the most important thing. And I hope that if you guys have your feet dug in on anything, cards or not, that you at least go into it with an open mind and not just shut it down immediately. So kind of a motivational Monday thing. I've been trying to stick to motivational Mondays on Mondays. So I guess there's a little bit of a message in there. Anyway, hope you guys have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. We'll talk to you soon.